side of the ring. From kidnapping to murder, from burglary to manslaughter, these guys unlawfully use their position as a dominant male to destroy the lives of those around them.
It was so exciting. Me and your world is so vastly different. You could never understand the action and the excitement of it all.
It's been a while since I've posted on this series, and that's due to YouTube not allowing me to monetize it, but lots of people asked for part 2, so here we are. Please remember, leave a like on the video and perhaps part 3 will creep up on you. Reputation for being a good, strong fighter with a muscular physique.
Freddie Roach and Michael Moore will take on Dale Crow tonight. The 25-year-old from Norwood, Ohio, has 21 wins and 13 knockouts.
As he stepped up in class, however, the losses started to rack up on his resume. It was nothing out of the ordinary, and he was still a game challenger, often taking his opponents the distance, forcing a hard-earned victory. Then, everything changed on March 9, 2001, when he faced the former WBA world champion Greg Page, who might not have the greatest looking record, but was known for being one of the trickiest fighters from his time period.
Look on this, Greg Page being the other heavyweight champion from Louisville, Kentucky. People seem to forget about Jimmy Ellis, but Greg Page, very, very good fighter.
Page even had the pleasure of fighting the great Muhammad Ali in an exhibition when he was 16 years old, and the greatest said, "That boy hit me so hard, it jarred my kinfolks in Africa." Page was also well known for being the only man to put Mike Tyson on the canvas in a recorded sparring session. And this wasn't a faded Mike, this was prime Mike.
타이슨가 다운시다. 페이지의右フックがカウンターパンチとなってタイソンの左顔面を捉えた。密着カメラを
Page was at the bitter end of his career in 2001 when he faced the 24-year-old Crow. Pay close attention to how the fight ends, as this footage sparked huge controversy at the time. The pushdown instantly started to bleed on the brain and left Page comatose, which eventually led to the unfortunate lifelong effects of being paralyzed on the left side of his body and being confined to a wheelchair. Truly tragic. When watching this fight back on YouTube, I even saw his daughter in the comments paying her respect, along with many other die-hard boxing fans remembering the amazing talent that was Greg Page. Page, unfortunately, died a few years later due to being bedridden after his bout with Dale. And whether you think Dale deserved some type of discipline or not, he was cleared of any wrongdoing and back in the ring just a few months later.
You know, I just pushed him off from more room and he went down, and I didn't realize the damage was as bad as it was, but you know, it's just one of the things that happen in boxing.
Crow's career continued like before, up and down, winning a couple, losing a couple, before disaster struck. In February 2006, Crow was arrested and indicted for the 2002 murder of Frank Banham, whose body was found in a trash bin in Cincinnati. Crow was charged with aggravated murder, and aggravated robbery for beating and strangling his friend Banham during an argument. He was subsequently sentenced to face 20 years in prison for involuntary manslaughter, aggravated robbery, and engaging in corrupt acts. He is currently serving his time at Warren Correctional Institution in Lebanon, Ohio. His scheduled release date, February 11th, 2026. Meet Gary Delaney, a former British and Commonwealth champion for the late 90s and early 2000s. He was known for his brutal punching power that saw many opponents hit the canvas without the need for a 10 count.
Oh! I wasn't, because I know I can punch anyway, you know, I'm the hardest hitting cruiserweight out there. And Johnny Nelson's fighting tomorrow, and if he fancies it, then let's get it on.
Gary's career even saw him compete with some modern-day greats like Enzo Macronelli and David Hay.
My name's Gary Delaney. I'm old school. I was brought up the hard way. This David Hay, I call him Pretty Boy. Well, he ain't gonna look too pretty when I'm finished with him. He's getting right up my nose.
As you can tell by his accent, Gary had an old-school Cockney sound and a hard man persona. During the tail end of his career, Gary became a bouncer at a hotel bar in Woodford, East London. It was here where we first heard alleged stories of him beating his model girlfriend Jodie Marsh, who said she was beaten black and blue for years.
Yeah, what are they saying? Well, because of, on a serious level, because of different things I've been through in my life, like bullying.
Things went from bad to worse in October 2005 when Gary was sentenced to 11 years in jail for murdering a drunk 23-year-old man half his size and knocking him unconscious with a punch thrown without warning. The trial heard that Delaney appeared to spray the victim's friend in the face with pepper spray, dragged him outside, dumped him in the shrubbery, and punched him. The court then heard that when the later murder victim Price remonstrated, Delaney beckoned him over to where his friend was lying and hit him without warning or reason. The punch to Price instantly put him unconscious, and he fractured his skull on the ground and later died in hospital. To think a former professional boxer would take such brutal force against a young man half his size and age is disgusting. The judge felt the same and said, "Boxing is an honorable sport, but you totally abuse the skills that you had acquired as a boxer." There are rumors Delaney is now a free man, but nothing can be confirmed as of this video's release. Joel Scott was a very promising heavyweight contender during the late 90s and early 2000s. He was a former United States amateur champion and built up a record of 18-0 with 18 knockouts as a pro.
Just a little time to wake up. Got his wake-up call in the first.
The usual story would be Scott stepping up in class and eventually getting beat. Before that could happen, however, he was sentenced to 4 years in jail for a hit-and-run incident from 1996 that severely injured a 4-year-old boy and which he would later blame on an addiction to crack. 4 years after that, he made his return to the ring, where he would indeed step up in class and eventually be beaten by the heavyweight contender Ray Austin. Then, before he had a chance to continue his career and possibly earn some good money, Scott was arrested on suspicion of the attempted rape and murder of 59-year-old Dorothy Royal. Police arrived on the scene on a foggy morning in City Park to find Dorothy's body laid on the ground with brutal facial wounds and an exposed lower half. Lurking around the corner was Joel Scott, who tried to run, but was tackled by the police and quickly taken to jail. It only took a jury 3 hours to convict Scott of his crimes. He was clearly guilty, and the long list of previous offenses made it pretty clear what kind of monster we were dealing with. In 1991, he had been charged with second-degree murder and robbery, but was cleared after another man confessed to the crime. 2 years later, he was accused of raping 4 underage girls, one being just 12 years old. And then he was finally convicted in 1996 after the brutal hit-and-run on a 4-year-old. While Joel blamed his downfall on his addiction to crack cocaine, people in his community said that he was always strange and often preyed on the weak people who couldn't defend themselves from his brutal strength. He was convicted for the rape and murder and sentenced to life in prison, with a judge saying, "It's the foulest, most despicable crime I've ever encountered in my 31 years of practicing law. It screams out to the most severe response, and I impose the heaviest sentence I can." Thanks for watching. I know it's hard to press the like button when things are as deeply disturbing as this video, but a lot of time went into researching and editing this piece, so as always, it would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, fight fans, this is Boxing Legends TV, signing off.